Hello, and a massive, warm welcome back to English Made Easy. It is so good to have you here with me today. If you're new here, our mission is simple. We take the beautiful, complex, and sometimes confusing world of the English language and we make it feel simple, natural, and useful for your real life. We believe that learning a language isn't just about memorizing rules. It's about connecting with people, understanding new ideas, and unlocking parts of yourself you never knew existed. Today, we are going to dive into a topic that almost every single person watching this video has a strong opinion on. It's a debate that happens in homes, in schools, and in governments all around the world. We're going to be talking about homework. And I'm going to make a case for a very bold idea. But this isn't just a debate. This is a special kind of English lesson. As we explore this topic together, we're going to learn some incredibly powerful, advanced English vocabulary. These aren't just words you find in a textbook. These are words that will help you express deep, complex ideas in your own life. Whether you're writing an essay for university, debating with a friend, or even just trying to understand your own feelings about stress and success, the words we learn today will give you the tools to do it with confidence and clarity. Now, I'm going to share my opinion, and I'm going to build a strong argument for it, but I want to challenge you. As you listen, I want you to think about your own experiences and your own opinions. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? I would be so fascinated to hear your counterarguments and your personal stories in the comments below. That's where the real learning happens, when we share ideas together. My promise to you is this. By the end of this video, you will not only understand my argument, but you will understand exactly how to use these new, powerful words. You'll know their meaning, their synonyms, when to use them, and how to say them. And on that note, please remember to say the words out loud after me, even if you're just whispering to yourself on the bus or at your desk. I'll be speaking with the natural rhythm of a native speaker, and the best way to practice that rhythm is to practice it. Let's begin. We all know the feeling. The school bell rings. It's a sound of freedom. You rush out of the classroom, your mind already jumping ahead to the rest of your day. Maybe you'll play a game, talk to your friends, read a book you actually want to read, or just lie on your bed and listen to music. But then you feel it. The weight in your backpack. It's not just the weight of books. It's the weight of expectation. It's the weight of hours of work you still have to do before you can truly be free. It's the weight of homework. This experience is nearly universal for students everywhere. It's a fundamental part of our idea of education. But I want to ask a question that might sound radical, that might even sound lazy or irresponsible to some. Should homework be banned? My answer, and the arguments I want to build with you today, is yes. I believe that homework, in its current traditional form, does more harm than good. I believe it is an outdated practice that negatively affects students' mental health, creates deeper inequality, and often fails at its primary goal, to help students learn. So let's start with the most personal and perhaps the most important part of this argument, the quiet damage it can do to a young person's mind and spirit. Think about a typical week for a student. They spend 6, 7, 8 hours at school, concentrating, learning, socializing, navigating a complex social world. They come home, and what are they met with? Not rest, not recovery, but a second shift, 3, 4, sometimes more hours of worksheets, problem sets, and reading assignments. The pressure is constant. It never really turns off. This isn't just tough work that builds character. For many, it's a slow, grinding pressure that leads to anxiety, stress, and complete burnout before they've even reached adulthood. This constant pressure has a name, and it's our first word. The effect is pernicious. Let's break that down. Pernicious. What a word. It sounds a little bit like vicious or malicious, and it's in the same family of negative ideas. To understand pernicious, imagine a tiny, slow leak in the pipes of a house. You don't see it, you don't hear it, but every single day, a little bit of water is seeping into the walls, into the foundation. Over months or years, it causes mold, rot, and structural damage that can destroy the entire house from the inside out. The harm wasn't sudden or obvious, but it was incredibly damaging over time. That is a pernicious effect. So the meaning is simple. Pernicious means something that is harmful, but in a slow, gradual, and often hidden way. It's a poison that doesn't work instantly. It works over time. Now, let's practice saying it. Listen closely. Pernicious. The stress is on the second syllable. Pernicious. Let's say it together. Pernicious. One more time. Pernicious. And what kind of word is it? Pernicious is an adjective. It's a describing word. It describes a noun. You can have a pernicious habit, like smoking just one cigarette a day. It doesn't seem like much, but over years, the effect is destructive. You can have a pernicious influence, like a friend who slowly undermines your confidence. Some easy synonyms for pernicious would be harmful, damaging, or detrimental. But pernicious is more specific. It carries the idea of being subtle and slow acting. So when we talk about homework, the argument is that the nightly pressure, the lack of free time, the sleep deprivation, it isn't just one bad night. It's a pernicious cycle. It slowly eats away at a child's natural curiosity and love for learning. It can replace that curiosity with anxiety and resentment. It teaches them that learning is a chore, a punishment that happens after the real day is over. The damage isn't always visible on the surface, but it's happening, slowly and surely, inside. This brings us to a second and equally troubling problem. Homework is supposed to be a great equalizer. The idea is that every student gets the same work, and it's a fair way to measure their effort. But the reality is the complete opposite. In fact, homework often becomes a powerful engine of inequality. I want you to imagine two different students. Let's call them Student A and Student B. Student A goes home to a quiet, peaceful house. Their parents are home and they understand the school subjects well. If Student A gets stuck on a math problem, a parent can sit down and explain it. They have a desk, a comfortable chair, good lighting, a fast internet connection for research, and a printer. The environment is designed for success. Now think about Student B. Student B goes home to a small, crowded apartment with younger siblings making a lot of noise. Their parents work late, and when they do get home, they're exhausted. Maybe they don't speak the language of the school fluently, or maybe they never studied algebra themselves, so they can't help. Student B doesn't have a quiet room or a desk. They try to do their work at the kitchen table while the TV is on and people are talking around them. Maybe they don't have reliable internet, or their family can't afford a printer for that 10-page history report. Both students have the exact same homework assignment, but do they have the same opportunity to complete it successfully? Absolutely not. The homework doesn't create this inequality. The inequality already exists. But what the homework does is take that existing problem and make it much, much worse. It shines a spotlight on it and punishes the student who was already at a disadvantage. The word for this is our second key vocabulary word, exacerbate. Let's look at this powerful verb, exacerbate. It might look a little intimidating, but it's a fantastic word to have. The meaning of exacerbate is to make a problem, a bad situation, or a negative feeling even worse. Think of a small fire. If you pour a bucket of water on it, you solve the problem. But if you pour a can of gasoline on it, you exacerbate the problem. You make the fire bigger, more dangerous, and harder to control. Let's get the pronunciation right. The stress is on the second syllable again. Exacerbate. The X here makes a X sound. Exacerbate. Try it with me. Exacerbate. Exacerbate is a verb. It's an action word. It's something that you do to a situation. For example, his apologies only seemed to exacerbate her anger, meaning his apology made her even angrier. The new road construction will exacerbate traffic problems, meaning the traffic will get even worse. Simple synonyms for exacerbate are worsen, aggravate, or intensify. Now, let's connect this back to our argument about homework. The homework assigned by the teacher doesn't just show that student A has more resources than student B, it actively punishes student B for their circumstances. When student B fails to turn in the homework or turns in poor quality work, they get a lower grade. They might be scolded by the teacher. They might start to believe they are bad at school, when in reality, they were just never given a fair chance to succeed outside of school. So homework doesn't just reflect inequality, it exacerbates it. It widens the gap between the privileged and the underprivileged day after day, assignment after assignment. It turns the home, which should be a refuge, into another place of potential failure for the students who need that refuge the most. So we've talked about mental health and we've talked about fairness, but what about the main point of homework? Does it even work? Does it actually help students learn better? The assumption is yes. The more you practice something, the better you get at it. But I would argue that a huge amount of the homework assigned in schools today is not meaningful practice. It is, to put it simply, busy work. It's work for the sake of work. And this leads us to our third word, superfluous. This is a beautiful word that I think you will love using, superfluous. What does it mean? Superfluous means unnecessary, especially because there is more of it than is needed or required. It means extra in a way that is not helpful. Imagine you're packing for a 1-week beach vacation. You pack 7 t-shirts, a few pairs of shorts, and a swimsuit. That's what you need. But what if you also packed 3 heavy winter coats, a pair of snow boots, and a wool scarf? Those items would be superfluous. They are completely unnecessary for the situation, and they just take up space and add weight. Let's try the pronunciation. It's a bit of a mouthful, but we can do it. The stress is on the second syllable, superfluous. That purr is just like the sound a cat makes. Superfluous. Let's say it. Superfluous. Superfluous is an adjective. It describes something as being more than enough, to the point of being useless. You could say, he added a lot of superfluous detail to the story that made it boring. Or, in this age of email, sending a letter by mail for a simple confirmation feels superfluous. Good synonyms would be unnecessary, non-essential, redundant, or even just extra. So, how does this relate to homework? Think about the worksheets with 50 of the same type of math problem. After the 10th problem, has the student really learned anything new, or are they just filling in boxes? Think about the assignments that ask students to simply copy definitions from a textbook. Is that real learning, or is it just a test of a student's ability to copy text? Much of this work is superfluous. It doesn't deepen understanding, it doesn't spark curiosity, it just fills time. It's the educational equivalent of packing a winter coat for the beach. It's heavy, it's useless, and it gets in the way of what you actually want to be doing. This kind of work teaches students a terrible lesson that school is about compliance, not about genuine intellectual discovery. It teaches them to find the quickest way to get the work done, not the best way to understand the material. It can kill the very passion for learning it is supposed to inspire. This focus on compliance over creativity points to an even deeper issue. The whole system of traditional education, with its rigid rows of desks, standardized tests, and nightly homework, is a model that was designed for a different era, the industrial age. It was designed to produce compliant factory workers who could follow instructions. But the world has changed. We now need innovators, creative thinkers, and collaborators. Yet the model of education often remains stuck in the past. It has become ossified. This is a very powerful, very visual C2 word, ossified. The root of this word is os, which is Latin for bone. To ossify literally means to turn into bone or bony tissue. But we use it metaphorically to describe something that was once living, flexible, and growing, but has now become hard, rigid, and unable to change. Think of a living tree turning into petrified, fossilized wood. It's no longer alive. It's just a hard, lifeless remnant of what it once was. So, ossified means to become rigid, inflexible, and resistant to change. Let's practice the pronunciation. The stress is right at the beginning. Ossified. Ossified. Say it with me. Ossified. Ossified is an adjective. It's the past participle of the verb to ossify. We use it to describe systems, ideas, or organizations. For example, the company's management structure had become so ossified that it couldn't adapt to new technology. Or, his political views became ossified in his youth and never changed. Synonyms could be rigid, stagnant, fossilized, or inflexible. When we say that the education system is ossified, we are making a very strong critique. We are saying it has stopped evolving. Homework is a key symptom of this ossified system. It's a tradition that we continue to follow, not because it's proven to be the most effective method for today's world, but simply because it's the way things have always been done. An ossified system prioritizes tradition over innovation, and homework is one of its most sacred and, I believe, most damaging traditions. It stifles creativity and treats all students as if they are identical units on an assembly line, each requiring the same nightly processing. Now, it is only fair in a debate like this to stop and acknowledge the other side. It would be easy for me to just list all the negatives without considering why homework exists in the first place. There are many intelligent, caring educators and parents who believe deeply in the value of homework. These people are our next vocabulary word: proponents. This is a very useful word for any kind of debate or discussion. Proponents. A proponent is a person who argues in favor of something, a supporter or an advocate of a particular idea, theory, or cause. If you are arguing for banning homework, you are a proponent of the ban. If you are arguing against the ban, you are a proponent of homework. The pronunciation is straightforward. The stress is on the second syllable. Proponent. Notice it's proponent, not propoundent. Proponent. Let's say it. Proponents. Great. Proponents. Proponents is a noun. It refers to a person or a group of people. The opposite of a proponent would be an opponent or a critic. So, what do the proponents of homework say? They have some very valid points that we need to consider. They argue that homework teaches responsibility and time management. It prepares students for the increasing workloads of university and professional life. They say it reinforces the lessons learned in the classroom, giving students a chance to practice and solidify their knowledge. They also believe it's a valuable tool for parents, allowing them to see what their children are learning and to get involved in their education. These are not small things. Responsibility, discipline, and parental involvement are incredibly important. The proponents of homework are not wrong to value these goals. My argument is that these goals are not bad, but that homework is a pernicious, superfluous, and unfair way of trying to achieve them. It is a tool that exacerbates inequality and comes from an ossified system of thought. The real question is, can we achieve these positive goals in a better, healthier, and more effective way? I believe we can. And this is where the conversation shifts from criticism to solutions. It's not enough to say, ban homework. We have to offer a better alternative. One of the most exciting ideas in modern education is the flipped classroom. The teacher pre-records their lecture and students watch it at home. This is their homework. Then in class the next day, they do the work, the problem sets, the essays, the labs, with the teacher right there to help, guide, and collaborate with them. This model is powerful because it gives the students something incredibly valuable. It gives them autonomy. This is a word that I hope you will cherish. Autonomy. Autonomy is the power to make your own decisions. It means independence and self-governance. It's the feeling that you are in control of your own life and your own choices. For a student, autonomy means not just being told what to do, but having a say in how and when they learn. The pronunciation has a nice, flowing rhythm. The stress is on the second syllable. Autonomy. Let's try it. Autonomy. Autonomy is a noun. It's a concept, a state of being. You can talk about a country fighting for its autonomy or a teenager wanting more autonomy from their parents. The adjective form is autonomous. An autonomous person is someone who is independent. Synonyms for autonomy include independence, self-rule, or freedom. In the flipped classroom model, students have autonomy over when and how they watch the lecture. They can pause it, rewind it, and watch it as many times as they need. They are in control. Then, the most difficult part of learning, the application, happens in a supportive environment with expert help, not alone in a noisy kitchen. This respects the students' time and intelligence. It grants them autonomy in their learning process. Another solution is to move away from nightly, superfluous worksheets and towards long-term, meaningful projects. Instead of 20 math problems, maybe a single, complex problem that takes a week to solve and requires creative thinking. Instead of a boring book report, maybe a project where students create a short film, a podcast, or a piece of art inspired by the book. This kind of work isn't about filling time. It's about engaging a student's passion and curiosity. It's about teaching them how to think, not just what to memorize. The goal here is not just to teach a subject, but to do something much deeper. It is to cultivate a love of learning. Our final word for today is cultivate. and it's one of my favorites. The word cultivate originally comes from farming. To cultivate land is to prepare it for growing crops, to till the soil, remove the weeds, and make it fertile. We have taken this beautiful, earthy metaphor and applied it to human development. So, to cultivate something means to carefully develop a skill, quality, or attitude in yourself or others. It's not a fast process. It requires patience, care, and attention, just like a gardener tending to a precious plant. Let's practice saying it. The stress is on the first syllable. Cultivate. Cultivate. One more time. Cultivate. Cultivate is a verb, an action word. You cultivate a friendship. You cultivate a talent for music. You cultivate a sense of peace in your life. It implies a gentle, nurturing process of growth. Some lovely synonyms are nurture, foster, or develop. This, I believe, is the true purpose of education. Not just to pour information into a child's head, but to cultivate the qualities they will need for a happy and successful life. Curiosity, resilience, creativity, and a genuine lifelong passion for discovery. Traditional homework often does the opposite. It can crush curiosity under the weight of superfluous tasks. But project-based learning, inquiry-based exploration, or even simply assigning 20 minutes of reading for pleasure each night, these are ways to cultivate that inner garden instead of paving it over with concrete. We can achieve the goals of the proponents of homework, discipline and reinforcement, without the pernicious side effects. We can build these skills without exacerbating inequality or relying on an ossified model of education. We can give students autonomy and cultivate their love for learning rather than teaching them to hate it. Perhaps the most important lesson we can teach our children isn't found in a textbook they carry home, but in the freedom we give them to discover who they are when they get there. Do you agree? Do you have a story about homework that proves my point, or one that challenges it completely? I am genuinely so curious to read your thoughts. Please write them down in the comments section. Let's learn from each other. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today and for being a part of the English Made Easy community. If you found this helpful, I encourage you to make listening to our lessons a daily habit. Small, consistent practice is the fastest way to improve your English and your confidence. I'll see you in the next one.